Well, welcome to the second part of our lecture on the technological change in Marxian economics course. And in this part, we will look in more detail to the Kontradiev's model. Well, in the Kontradiev's model, sometimes it's also called, Kontradiev is basically describing a cycle, a pattern in capitalist economic system that continues again and again and again. But sometimes it's also called wave, as if it is actually coming to a shore and bringing something continuously. Basically, his main claim is he claims that the radical technological changes occur at particular periods of history. They don't occur always. So there are different periods of history where you see this emerging surge or increase in the radical innovations that are happening, and in other periods the radical innovations are mostly rare, and these periods that bring the radical innovations and then take it away are called basically a Kontradiev wave or a Kontradiev cycle, basically. And well, another addition to the Kontradiev model is actually those innovations are occurring in specific sectors, because when one sector becomes, for one reason or the other, the bearer or the carrier of the innovations at that time, most innovations, most investments will go to that sector, which means there will be more development. So people who are interested in being innovators also are driven to that sector, and basically that sector becomes the main driver of the innovations at that era. There can be multiple sectors, but that usually, actually, that happened maybe at one period in history where you had multiple sectors in which those innovations were occurring, and we will see that. And mainly, according to Kontradiev, a Kontradiev wave or cycle happens in this way. We start at a period when the profit rates are low, and when profit rates are low, the companies are more willing to take risks, because the traditional type of investments, traditional type of behavior doesn't bring companies enough profit. Collectively, they are in a bad position. So for survival, they are willing to try new things, new solutions. And basically, one of possible potential solutions they might try are actually trying new innovations, funding new innovations, or adopting innovations that were already accepted. In other cases, adopting an innovation might be a risky process, because you never know what will be the exact result of the innovations unless you actually try it. So one thing I have learned in engineering is actually in any type of complex systems, like a factory, the exact effect of a change, a small change especially, is not easy to guess. So as a result, people might rather become conservative and only adopt radical change, especially radical changes, when it is absolutely necessary. And being at a time when the profit rates are low is more likely to make for many factories necessary to try to adopt new innovations to improve the production process, maybe also the product, but especially the production process, and we will talk about it also. What type of innovations the companies are more willing to adopt. So when profits are high, on the other hand, the normal type of investments might already be bringing sufficient amount of revenue for the company. So the companies might be more reluctant in that case to adopt innovations, finance innovations, basically. And in that case, well, some people might still do certain innovations. You might know the steam engine was actually developed as early as the at least ancient Greek era. But the time it takes for the adoption of the in the production process has taken centuries. So basically, well, even if some people are still innovating, providing well maybe some sufficient background for the technologies, they won't be funded, and basically their innovations are less likely to be adopted by the companies. So you see, when average profits are high, you see a period when the radical innovations are more rare, especially the ones that are actually used are rare. So the setup of the Kondratiev model is built on this background, basically. And basically, well, the Kondratiev wave basically goes in this way. You start from the we can start at any point because the wave will always return to the same point eventually. But let's start from the point where the profits are low. When profits are low, well, you have a period of a crisis, depression, basically, where companies won't be able to invest, and when they don't invest, their production capacity will fall, and as a result, they might basically fire workers. The unemployment might increase. So you might have a bad period in general. And at that bad period, it's more likely the companies make more investments. But those investments, by increasing the efficiency, decreasing the cost, it might actually improve the positions of the companies, decrease the prices, make the outputs more affordable for the consumers, and maybe also produce new products. That might be also a possibility. Although, as you will see, according to Marx, usually the new products are usually byproducts of developments in the production process, or the innovations that were made for the needs of to fulfill the needs of the production process. But anyway, so these radical innovations actually create a era of a period of new expansion, and the economy improves. The economy improves, and as a result, the profit rates get high, and as time passes, these radical innovations will be more rare since the profit rate has gone up. However, this radical innovation has created a base of technology, and this base of technology can be developed by non-radical innovations. So if you have already discovered the basic electronics or the steam engine, now you can apply the steam engine to different technologies, or now you can apply the same knowledge of electronics to different fields, basically. So those non-radical innovations keep the profits high for a certain period. But after a certain period, the potential to exploit this technology base will become smaller and smaller. And as a result, the economy will enter into a new depression. And as the economy enters this new depression, the profit rates will fall down. And as a result, when the profit rates fall down, well, maybe this way will be better. Well, when the profit rate fall down, after it fell down sufficiently, now the conditions will be ready for a new Kondratiev wave, basically. So we return to the old position where the profits were low and the conditions were ready for a new technological wave with new radical innovations. So this is how the Kondratiev wave is fit in the history. Kondratiev himself has actually died in 1930s. But the first wave is usually is described by by the invention of the steam engine and basically the application of steam engine to different type of sectors, starting from mining sector to transportation to the all the way to the textile sector, basically. The second wave is basically led by steel technology and the railway. Steam engine has been still be effective in especially the railway case, basically. And then you have the third wave where actually you had multiple of sectors, but basically two are considered as the most dominant: the chemistry and the electrical engineering. That's the time of the Edison, the light bulb, the Alexander Graham Bell, but also at the same time, at the time of, for example, the medicines, the new type of medicines that were found, and new type of chemical processes that were invented. That's the late 19th century and early 20th century, mainly early 20th century. And then you have a new period after Kondratiev has died on petrochemicals and automobiles. It's interesting that basically one of them is on the inputs and the other one is on the transportation in the second and the third wave. And then we have a new wave that is actually led by the information technology, computers and internet, basically. It's interesting, actually. You might even say that actually this first, third and fifth wave are more radical, and the fourth and second wave are maybe some more secondary type of waves that are dependent on the technologies that were actually built previously. So maybe there are some stronger waves and then weaker waves. That might be something that could be questioned. And then there are other things that could be questioned on the wave. First, of course, just describing 5 waves is not that much enough to describing a continuous trend. Although still it's interesting to fit those five periods to the model Kondratiev has described, and also the process which actually makes one sector dominant is an interesting process, and more could be said on this process. So there is a lot more to discuss on the Kondratiev waves, but of course this course is an introduction to many concepts, including the Kondratiev waves. So basically, we will continue. We will not spend more time on the Kondratiev wave, but this is a very interesting. This is one of the very interesting models in the economics. So, if you're interested, I will encourage you to study further. So, I'm ending the part 2 of this the lecture on the technological development. See you in the part 3, where we will basically go further into analysis of Marx.